The return of Dragon Ball Super has thrown the doors wide open as early as January, and we know that its return is already consolidated together with Netflix as well. Don't believe it? Then check out the whole video. So, are you ready? We know that the major Dragon Ball event that marked the month of January and dominated conversations among fans and communities around the world was the Dragon Ball Genkata Matsuri. 2026 at Makuhari Messe in Chiba, Japan, the event was part of the official celebrations of the 40th anniversary of the Dragon Ball franchise. Genkata Matsuri established itself as one of the most important events in the history of the series, bringing together official announcements that span anime, manga, games, collectibles, and future projects, with special emphasis on news that redefine the future of the Dragon Ball universe. The impact was immediate, generating global repercussions and reigniting fan enthusiasm after years of uncertainty about the return of the anime. And since Dragon Ball is strong in the global anime scene, and we have already waited too long for its return, they do not want to waste any more time, because time is money for big names like Dragon Ball. So we are already celebrating its return together with Netflix, with episodes released weekly. The scenario begins long before the official premiere, behind the scenes of intense negotiations between the platform, Toei Animation, and the holders of international rights. In this process, Netflix does not see just an anime series, but a continuous engagement-generating asset, capable of attracting millions of new and old fans to watch, comment, and binge. Unlike a traditional catalog, where entire seasons are released at once, the weekly strategy turns each episode into an event, creating a consumption rhythm similar to that of series with major global impact. This change also responds to a key need of modern streaming, keeping subscribers connected to the platform for longer, week after week, instead of consuming everything at once and canceling their subscriptions shortly afterward. In the initial planning, Netflix and Toei define a precise calendar of seasons, with short intervals between each arc, where each episode becomes a piece of anticipation. Fans in the United States and around the world begin receiving official teasers months before the premiere, with trailers that balance nostalgia and novelty, showing Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and other characters in unprecedented and mysterious confrontations that promise answers to gaps left by the last arc of the series. Communication is done in an integrated way across social platforms, with exclusive material for members, countdowns in the app, virtual panels with producers, voice actors, and even mini-documentaries about the production process of the new phase. This builds a collective sense of a global event that goes beyond the simple release of episodes. When the first episode finally arrives, Netflix highlights it on the main page in all territories where the series has rights: the United States, Latin America, Europe, and parts of Asia, with subtitles and dubbing in major languages, including Brazilian Portuguese, English, and Spanish. The weekly premiere turns Sunday or Tuesday, depending on the chosen strategy, into a ritual day. Fans log into their accounts, watch together in watch parties, and participate in live debates on social media. Each released episode generates waves of views and shares, pushing Netflix's algorithm to recommend the series to users who had never watched Dragon Ball before. In the weekly model, Netflix does not need to wait until all episodes are fully ready to release the entire season at once. Production works under a continuous delivery schedule, which allows fine adjustments based on global feedback. This means that if a particular arc surprises positively, Toei and Netflix can expand that narrative focus in subsequent seasons, creating a kind of real-time dialogue between creators and audience without compromising artistic quality. The engagement generated by this format is exponential. Instead of just counting accumulated hours watched, the platform monitors weekly audience trends, conversations on social media, hashtags, and interactions that remain active throughout the entire duration of the series. This extends the visibility cycle of Dragon Ball Super far beyond the episodes themselves, because each week functions as a micro-event that captures global attention, stimulates theories, memes, analyses, and predictions. In the United States, the new phase of Dragon Ball Super on Netflix also ends up influencing the consumption of other franchise productions in the catalog, from classics like Dragon Ball Z to films and specials, creating a spiral effect that increases total hours watched. This weekly return translates, for Netflix, into higher subscriber retention, because fans keep their accounts active for months while waiting for each episode. At the same time, the platform manages to attract new users who subscribe exclusively to follow the premiere, something that directly results in net subscription growth with each released arc. The revenue generated is not only financial through subscriptions, but strategic, Dragon Ball Super becomes a market case for the hybrid weekly release format on a service traditionally associated with full season drops. This movement influences other franchises and content within Netflix, driving a new form of engagement. For fans, watching each episode at the same pace it is released creates a community experience that connects different countries through simultaneous consumption. Each episode ending is debated, theories are created, characters trend on social media, and Netflix, in turn, monitors these indicators to plan future actions. In the end, the return of Dragon Ball Super to Netflix with weekly episodes is not just a way of distributing content, but a model that redefines how a classic franchise can adapt to modern streaming, transforming nostalgia into engagement, fans into community, and series into global events of continuous audience. The Dragon Ball Super anime stopped at a very specific, and at the same time, symbolic point for the franchise. It officially ended at episode 131, aired in March of 2018, with the end of the Tournament of Power. There, Goku faces Jiren at his absolute limit, reaches Ultra Instinct at a level never seen before, and even without maintaining the form in a stable way, proves that mortals can, indeed, touch the territory of the gods. The tournament ends with the victory of Universe 7. The wish made by Android 17 restores all erased universes, and the series closes with a clear sense of provisional conclusion, not definitive closure. The threat is overcome, cosmic balance is restored, but the world of Dragon Ball makes it evident that it has advanced to a new level of power. When the anime stops, Goku's situation is paradoxical. He does not master Ultra Instinct, but he already knows that this is the path. Vegeta, in turn, accepts that he will follow a different route, refusing to walk exactly in the rival's footsteps. Gohan reaffirms his identity as a hybrid, Piccolo regains strategic relevance, Frieza remains alive and free, now more dangerous than ever, and the gods of destruction begin to look at mortals with greater caution. This is the state of the universe at the moment. The anime bids farewell. Apparent peace, but latent tension. From there, the manga continues the story and completely changes the context of a possible return of the anime. The first major post, Tournament of Power arc, is the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc, introducing Moro, a villain who does not rely only on brute force, but on magic, energy absorption, and ancient knowledge. This arc redefines Ultra Instinct, showing that it is not just a transformation, but a technique that requires emotional balance and mental mastery. Goku fails repeatedly, learns from Miras, a disguised angel, and pays a high price for trying to accelerate this learning. Vegeta, at the same time, travels to the planet Yardrat and develops completely different techniques, focused on control, energy separation, and spiritual awareness. This arc ends with Moro's defeat, but leaves deep marks on the character's evolution. Next, the manga moves on to the Granola, the Survivor arc, which expands the concept of wishes, dragons, and consequences. Here, the universe becomes even more complex. Granola sacrifices virtually his entire life expectancy to become the strongest in the universe at that moment. Frieza returns in shocking fashion, revealing his black form after brutal training in a different time chamber, and demonstrates that the power game has changed once again. Goku begins to develop the so-called True Ultra Instinct, a version more aligned with his Saiyan nature, while Vegeta awakens Ultra Ego, directly linked to the gods of destruction. When this arc ends, it becomes clear that the average power level of Universe 7 is far above anything the anime has ever shown. After that, the manga adapts the events of the film Dragon Ball Super. Superhero, repositioning Gohan and Piccolo at the top of the power hierarchy. Gohan Beast emerges as a force that rivals Goku and Vegeta, while Piccolo reaches a new form that places him once again as a pillar of the main team. The final scenario of the manga, so far, shows an unstable balance. Goku and Vegeta continue training under Whis. Frieza is an active threat and no longer a distant villain. Gohan becomes central again, and the universe as a whole lives under the feeling that a greater crisis is always lurking. It is exactly from this point that the anime would return. It would not come back as a simple continuation of the Tournament of Power, but as a series that needs, right from the start, to communicate to the audience that the level has changed. Goku does not return learning Ultra Instinct. He returns trying to master it. Vegeta does not return chasing after Goku. He returns following his own path. Frieza does not return as comic relief or a secondary antagonist, but as a strategic, patient, and dangerously prepared entity. And the universe is no longer a simple board of forces. but a system where wishes, gods, angels, and mortals directly interfere in one another's destiny. Therefore, the anime stopped at a moment of emotional closure, but would return at a moment of structural rupture. It leaves a story about survival in a tournament, and returns to a narrative about consequences, choices, and limits. It would not be just the return of Dragon Ball Super, but the beginning of a denser, more cosmic, and more mature phase of the franchise, built on everything the manga developed while the anime was silent. When Dragon Ball arrived on Netflix, the path to this moment was neither direct nor simple, much less immediate. It begins long before the name Netflix even existed as a synonym for streaming. For decades, Dragon Ball was an essentially television-based product, supported by broadcast airings, constant reruns, physical sales on VHS and DVD, licensing of toys and games, and later by the explosive growth of manga and anime on specialized digital platforms. Netflix only enters this story when the global market was already mature enough to turn nostalgia into business strategy and data into editorial decision. The first concrete move happens around 2015 to 2016, when Netflix begins to invest more aggressively in classic anime as part of its international expansion, and at the same time, as reinforcement of the North American catalog. At that time, Dragon Ball was already a phenomenon deeply rooted in United States pop culture, mainly because of its broadcast on Toonami, which marked entire generations of viewers. Even so, the franchise's rights were fragmented, spread across old television contracts, home video, and regional agreements, which prevented an immediate and uniform arrival on streaming. When Dragon Ball Z finally becomes part of Netflix's catalog in the United States, already at the end of the 2010s, the move is not treated as a major public event. There are no highlighted trailers on the homepage, nor massive promotional campaigns. Even so, the effect is immediate. Within a few days, Dragon Ball Z begins to appear among the most watched content on the platform in the country, competing directly with contemporary series, original productions, and high-budget releases. The most surprising data lies not only in the volume of access, but in audience behavior. It is an old series with long episodes, a more measured narrative rhythm, and a structure completely different from the modern binge-watching standard, and yet consumption proves to be intense, consistent, and prolonged. This performance draws internal attention within Netflix because it breaks a central streaming logic. It is not a new release. There is no manufactured hype nor aggressive advertising push. And even so, Dragon Ball Z shows above-average retention rates. Users watch several episodes in sequence, return daily to the platform, and maintain engagement over weeks. For the algorithms, this is a clear sign of structural value, not circumstantial.